Spring sports last year did not happen here in Ohio, but they're going to happen this year. And we'll tell you more about it in just a moment with Knute Bonner coming up. Well, this time last year, Knute Bonner, you guys were fit to be tied. You didn't know really where to go, what to do. It seemed like everything was just taken from you. The OHSAA had a rocky year, all thanks to the pandemic, but it's good to be back somewhat to a sense of normalcy for high school spring sports.
Yeah, last year, I think the day the OHSAA shut everything down, we were scheduled to have our first baseball scrimmage of the year, and remember having to call Coach Barr and give him the bad news that in his debut season he wasn't going to get to have that first game. But like you said, we're back with a semblance of normalcy. We're prepared to play a full schedule in all of our spring sports, and the kids are playing, and that's what's really important.
We'll talk baseball here in just a moment because there's some new digs for Chillicothe Cavalier baseball this season. But first, the Fairweather Relays has been the kickoff, so to speak, to all of spring sports for decades now. And this event will have a number of schools participating. And 2019, you had something like 20 schools represented there?
Yeah. More of 20 teams. Last year we did have a little bit bigger field. This year we've cut the field down to 9 other schools, both bringing their boys and girls team to give us 10 teams total. We feel that that's a number we can manage, keep everyone social distance, not just the fans, but also the athletes. If you get too many teams in there, there's really not an opportunity to get the teams spread out to where you can properly distance the kids. So yeah, we've got 9 others, some local, some from the Columbus area. Locally, we have Waverly, Unioto, Westfall, your alma mater, Tays Valley's coming down. Oh, yeah. I'm going to miss someone here. I'm going to feel bad about it. We also have Logan and Bexley, and I'm not sure if I've named all 9, but if not, I'm sorry if I missed you.
Yeah. Well, Huntington is another one in there too.
Yeah, and Huntington and Hillsborough. Yep.
Yeah. So that's a good mix. I know in previous years, sometimes half the field might be City League teams out of Columbus, and the athletes were just fantastic for this particular event. And what a great way to start the season for spring sports.
Yeah, it's always a good test for our athletes. Sometimes for the mental fortitude of them. We call it the Fairweather Relays, and knock on wood, it seems like this year might actually be fair weather. Right now the forecast looks great, 72 sunny. And with it being a different meet, I'm always happy to get our teams started with something right away. And with it being at home, running and jumping in front of the home crowd, I think it just starts them off on the right foot to start their season.
I think one of the adjustments that everyone's going to have to make is making sure you still mask. I know you're going to be outside, but much like during the fall season, folks were conditioned for that. They now, though, I think kind of feel that we're getting confident, so to speak, and they're starting to loosen up on some of what they're doing. But for you as a facility and a facilitator to an event like this, you have to adhere to all the restrictions that the government has laid out and the OHSAA has agreed to.
Yeah, the Ohio Department of Health and the OHSAA have a very strict set of guidelines, restrictions, and regulations that, quite frankly, we have to follow. There's no way around it. That includes not just our athletes, our coaches, but also our fans. As you probably know, in the fall and winter, we had the OHSAA even sent observers around to check on compliance with their regulations, and I'm sure that's something that'll be happening again in the spring. So unfortunately, until the governor or the Ohio Department of Health lifts our mask mandate, masks are required at all Chillicothe City School District facilities. as well as an expectation of distancing 6 foot from people that aren't in your family or close group.
And still, it's not just open to everybody. It pretty much is participants and their families, right?
Yeah, so we're fortunate enough that we have the ability for our ticketed events to use hometown ticketing, which is also the ticketing provider that the OHSAA uses for their postseason contests. And through that, we were able to develop a code system where each athlete is given a passcode that allows them X amount of tickets up to our capacity. That way we can monitor how many people are there. And with that, we also send a similar amount of codes to our visiting team, so that just gives us the ability to track and make sure that we're in compliance with that percentage allotment that the governor's allowed.
Strange that you have to think about things like that, but it adds to one more layer of what you have to do for an event like this, isn't it?
Yeah, if I would have been in my office today, I'm talking to you from home here, but right behind my desk, I still have our whiteboard numbers with all of our attendance figures broken down. I never in a million years thought I would have to count individual seats in a 4,000 seat football stadium to find out exactly how many attendees I could have on a Friday night. But, as they said, 2020 was a strange year, and we're getting a little piece of it in 2021, it seems.
Yeah. Baseball now, as you mentioned, Tom Barr, his debut season was supposed to be last year. Certainly he's been chomping at the bit. He's a guy who's had a lot of success where he has been in previous years, and now at Chillicothe High School. And you'll have a brand new facility to step into as the continued improvements there at the Mount Logan campus have taken some new heights.
Yeah, we're really happy to have the facility we have down at Mount Logan, having both baseball and softball in the same general complex is I'm sure will be greatly appreciated by our fellow league schools that have to travel to us. I know it was hard for them to have to drop off at the high school or Mount Logan and switch and vice versa. But just I can't thank the school board and the district enough for the lengths they went to get this field done. It was a long project. We, working through the pandemic, we had our hurdles. We haven't opened it yet. We actually have one last piece that's actually being delivered today. Will be an infield top dressing to get the surface up to a very high level of play. But it's going to be a very nice complex, very fan friendly. We have bleachers behind the stands like we do at the softball field, as well as just open area for people to bring their lawn chairs, especially now with social distancing, to spread out, to get some fresh air. Keep your mask on, but spread out. I'm very happy with the product we'll be putting on the field, and the field itself is going to be an incredible product.
Yeah, we were over and took a look at it. In fact, folks will be watching this video and they'll see some aerial shots we took of it. Still, you had cinder to put down and little tiny mounds of that, but we're looking forward to seeing what it will look like when it is actually complete. And let's turn the clock back to your high school days.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the first year of Ron Hansel Field. That was around the time before, I want to say, the campus was redone back in 2003 or so.
So I'm not sure when we opened the field there. My high school years were actually, I took place in the new resurrection of Ron Hansel Field after it was sort of used there as a landing area and staging area for materials during the new building construction. And we then played a handful of years at the VA, and then moved back into to Hansel Field. And I was a part of that baseball team that were the first ones back to Hansel Field.
Yeah, I was trying to think because I knew it was a landing spot for much of the construction that was going on. But will the name Ron Hansel Field follow to this new facility, or will that be left as just a landmark at the original campus?
So as of right now, we haven't discussed naming on the Mount Logan field, is what we're calling it now, the Mount Logan baseball field. And right now, Hansel Field's still being used. It's going to be the home of our middle school club team. They'll be playing their games and practicing at Hansel Field. And right now, while we're still finishing the last touches on our field at Mount Logan, our baseball team has been playing and practicing there.
You've got plenty of other sports going on too. As you mentioned, you've got softball, which has that fantastic field that was opened several years ago. But you've got tennis back in the city park again for the boys, and you've got lacrosse to be looking forward to as well.
Yeah, lacrosse actually kicks off their season tonight. They're going up to Hilliard Bradley to take on the Jaguars. This year we're a varsity only program in lacrosse, and we have new face, but not new to the program. First time head coach Alan Hawk. He's been the assistant coach for a handful of years, and Alan's chomping at the bit to get the girls on the field and like we said, make his debut as well. So I guess they open up at Hilliard Bradley tonight, and I believe next Tuesday we have Wellington Academy coming down for our home opener at the O.
Very nice. Of course, we wish you well for a spring season, and we are looking forward to following the Cavaliers and seeing how things work out. And we'll certainly get over and catch a baseball game at the new baseball facility, and we'll peek in on the girls too, because they've got a promising season ahead of them as well on the softball diamond.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited for what our spring sports can do this year. We've got some new coaches. You know, Coach Barr hasn't got to coach a game yet. Coach Hawk's new, and also on the softball side, Pat Boyan, who was our JV coach last year, has taken over the varsity program now. So real excited to see what Coach Boyan's got in store for the girls. And Coach Holm is still plugging along there at the with the tennis team. They've been doing most of their workouts from the athletic center right now, which is a great asset to have for us, where it's been a kind of rainy spring, but he's still been able to get our team out in there and practice. So I'm real excited for how prepared our teams are. And I think we should see some success this year in spring sports.
Since we mentioned all the other head coaches, how about your boys track and girls track head coaches?
Can't leave Rob out. No.
Right.
There's the best thing to say about Coach Strong is just how well, one, he prepares our kids to compete, and two, I don't think I've ever had an experience with a coach that relates to our kids better. He has our track numbers up to, I believe, 78 total right now, which in recent years is a extreme high. We have 44 boys and 34 girls, and just building off the previous years, I know he's ready to avenge and defend his FAC titles from 2 years ago.
It's going to look like a circus showing up when Chillicothe rolls in for a track meet now.
Yeah, if you pack them in there, we're ready to compete.
Sounds great. Knute Bonner, thank you for your time today, and good luck to the Cavaliers.
Thanks, Dan.